than anybody is letting out.
Well, I agree with you, and I appreciate your call. Paul in Alabama, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, thanks for taking my call. I know you and Dr. Bowman said that not as much radiation is going to hit the U.S. Because of crossing the ocean there.
Well, I mean, I didn't say that because I don't. Bowman said that hopefully most of it will go in the ocean, and I would imagine that's the case.
And he said there was a slight change in the jet stream too. But I just wanted to, not to try to beat this to death, but distinguish something real quick with the iodine. Okay, there's 3 types of iodine supplements you can use to protect from the radioactive iodine. There's iodine supplements like the kale that you have. There's potassium iodide, and there's potassium iodate. Okay, the iostat pills contain 130 milligrams of potassium iodide. Okay, the equivalents to that are 100 milligrams of the supplemental iodine like you have, 130 milligrams of the iodide, and 170 milligrams of the iodate. Okay, now I want you to look at the back of your bottle. It says it's in micrograms, MCG. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, micrograms. 1 microgram is the equivalent to 0.001 milligrams. And I heard when you were on with Ben Fuchs earlier, and he said the pills, the iostat pills, contain 130 milligrams of iodine. Okay, and those your drops are in micrograms. Okay, for 130 micrograms, I think your bottle said 120 or 130 micrograms.
150.
150 micrograms. That would be 0.15 milligrams. Okay, so for you to get the same equivalent as one of the iostat pills, you would have to take 130,000 drops of that kale substance.
Fuchs, I'll have to stick with him and research that, but I appreciate that. Again, I don't want to sit here and obsess over this all day long and just get completely obsessed with it. The point is, if your thyroid is filled with the good iodine it needs, it will not absorb anymore. If it gets what it needs. I've read that it is overkill with these pills, these iostat, that makes some people get sick. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving you advice. I've told you what I've done, okay? Folks, we're talking about meltdown going on at 4 reactors. We're talking about giant explosions, fires. We're talking about a radioactive cloud going towards Tokyo. And as many experts have stated, if we're dealing with uranium and plutonium, it's not even going to matter with iodine. Okay, so the issue is, thank God there's an ocean between us called the Pacific Ocean. And I'm not getting in an argument with you, Paul. It goes on and on and on. And then it becomes, I must provide everything for everyone, and I must have the answers, and I must, do all of this. Let's go ahead and talk to Will in Kentucky. You're on the air, Will.
Yeah, hi, Alex. How are you today?
Good. What do you think about what's happening in Japan?
I think it's rotten, man. I think the government has their hand in it. They had their hand in everything that goes on around us today in the news. Before it makes the news, we know about it. And like you said, the Internet is going away. They're trying to get it they're trying to get rid of that first so that we can't tell them what we think of them or what's going on, what they're doing behind our backs. At any rate, I was listening to Dr. Bowman that you had on earlier, and he mentioned something about the iodide and all that. There's people hear potassium iodide, they're running crazy to get to the stores. You go on the internet and look up potassium iodide, all it says is sold out everywhere. You can't get it.
Absolutely. There we go. Another call on that subject. I mean, my whole issue here is, at this point, we can't. Here's the biggest issue. We can't trust the Japanese government, the UN, the U.S. government to tell us the truth. You heard Bowman, that those detectors they've got testing the Japanese people are only going to pick up the radiation from uranium or plutonium. They're not going to pick up, generally, the cesium, the radioactive iodine, the strontium. So this is a can of worms, and we're all trying to figure this out together here right now. And that's why we're taking your phone calls. But we don't know what's going to hit us. I just know that jet stream comes across the Pacific, and historically, we know Chernobyl went all the way around the world, further than Japan, over the Middle East, over Russia, over Asia, over Japan, over the Pacific, and back over the U.S. That was on record in 1986. It orbited the planet for several years. So you heard Bowman. He said a lot of it is going to come here, a small amount of the overall, but that itself will increase cancer rates. There's a reason cancer's already up in the last 60 years of the nuclear age. Guys, search the term, the factoid, number of above-ground nuclear tests, total number of above-ground nuclear tests with the U.S., Russia, the British, the French, and many others, the Chinese. I believe it's in the hundreds. I mean, let's just do it super dead reckoning from ancient memory. I believe there's been over 300 above-ground nuclear tests, and the U.S. has done the most of anybody. We'll see if I'm right after this break. The point is, what do you think all those did? Above ground. Some of them detonated on the ground. Then you get a lot more fallout. We're going to come back with more of your phone calls straight ahead, continuing to cover this. The latest news straight ahead, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. Stay with us.
Alex has told you that the Mideast uprisings over food prices and shortages caused by fuel costs are spreading worldwide. We're seeing the impact right here in the United States. Ethanol that was supposed to reduce petroleum use and fuel prices hit a 30-month high in February, and pump prices are expected to reach $5 a gallon. Because of shipping costs, food is being priced out of the reach of millions of Americans with an expected 35% jump in the next 60 days. Move quickly while you can still afford it, and eFoods Direct will pay your shipping costs for you. For the best tasting, long-term storable food, you pay nothing for shipping and can put every dollar into food at today's prices. eFoods Direct, food so delicious you can serve it tonight or save it for the future. Take advantage of free shipping by calling 800-409-5633. On the web, efoodsdirect.com/Alex, 800-409-5633, or efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Going solar for cheap is as easy as 1, 2, 3. If you want to go solar but thought the setup costs were too high, now you can build your own solar panels for less than $200. Don't laugh. We've sold over 45,000 solar do-it-yourself kits. Watch our introduction video at 123cheapsolarvideo.com. The video is free, but it won't last long. Save money on electric bills and get off the grid. Go to 123cheapsolarvideo.com right now. Our website again is 123cheapsolarvideo.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237. On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, housing, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw of free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power. A gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order a copy today. It's critical that the public be made aware of the system. Call and order your copy today at 1-800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
David J. Smith for Newswatch Magazine. Did you realize that Franklin Delano Roosevelt tried to implement the entire socialist program upon America, but alert congressmen stopped him in his tracks? And yet over 22,000 of the laws that he's got passed are still on the books, even though the Supreme Court said that they were null and void and should not be used today. We'd like to help you understand how these things are going to affect you and yours in the near future by offering you an absolutely free one-year subscription to Newswatch Magazine. Just call our toll-free number, 1-800-516-8736. That's 1-800-516-8736. 516-8736. Call now while operators are standing by to take your call. Call now. It's a free 1-year subscription.
We are continuing overdrive throughout this hour. It is now being reported by mainstream news that more deadly types of radiation are being ejected directly into the air. I'm going to be covering that after the break. We're going to have pharmacist Ben Fuchs back on because this has become a big point of debate. Again, I'm not giving medical advice here. I've been saying that since Friday. I have the pills. I've chosen to go with the liquid because it's better absorbed, and if your thyroid has enough, it shuts off. There is a lot more, and it is overkill with the iostat, but that's my personal opinion. Okay, I'm not here giving you advice. We're going to get Ben Fuchs back on, but I went and looked at iodine deficiency sites that do the research, and they talk about how you need 130 micrograms a day, and then it fills your thyroid if you've been doing it over time. Obviously, but we're going to talk to a degreed pharmacist on the other side to try to explain this from his perspective. But you do whatever you want, okay? Don't take it or go eat a big piece of fish that's got it. I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want. I'm not going to medically tell you to eat fish. You do whatever you want, okay? And we eat so many GMO foods, people are allergic to everything now. In fact, don't eat any food. Just stop eating. I'm joking now. Again, this whole iodine thing has completely exploded and gone crazy. And so we'll continue to discuss that as well. Right now, let's go ahead and go back to your phone calls. Donna in New Hampshire, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. I'm a researcher and moderator over in Prison Planet Forum, and I've done some extensive research on trying to help people detox their body, from radiation. One of the things that I did find out throughout my research that people can go out and buy a plant called spiderwort. And what spiderwort does is the minute any kind of radiation is present in the area they're in, the flower will turn pink.
I wonder how folks are going to find enough spiderworts. Suddenly there'll be a shortage of spiderworts. I'll have to look into that.
Well, and also if you go to the Prison Planet Forum,
that's almost like a canary in the coal mine.
Correct, but this way, if you have just a little bit of detection of radiation, you can start doing your K 103, or you can do any kind of protection. You can eat well. There's a lot of things.
Well, the biggest issue is sealing your house, putting up plastic over the windows, and turning off the air conditioner. That's what we said Friday. That's what the Japanese government's saying right now. That's the biggest issue, because then the radiation will go into the dirt and things. It's still there, but you have a less of a chance of inhaling it directly out of the atmosphere, and a lot of it dissipates that way, and a lot of it will float over Japan out to sea and go into the ocean. And so if people can just stay in their houses, obviously if they could get out of the way of the cloud that's now approaching Tokyo, reportedly already hitting it, that would be, number one, what you should do.
It's also important to make sure you avoid sugars and sweets during this time. Way too much of that in your system is going to do danger to it. Also, it's very important to double up on your D3. The fact that Americans in general are D3 deficient. We've got to keep our immune systems up.
Very well said. I appreciate the call, Donna. Trina in Montana, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Oh, good. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to read you a note. I have a friend who's in Japan and was caught in the earthquake, and I thought you'd find this rather interesting. She goes on about, the earthquake and how she was frightened. Then she said she works in a securities firm. She said there's no announcement by the firm, but I heard from the traders that Goldman Sachs on the 42nd floor had already evacuated.
And where is this?
She lives in Tokyo.
Well, I know that they've evacuated the many of the foreign embassies. That was reported last night out of Tokyo. And so that is confirmed that many foreign embassies including the British and U.S. Embassy, have moved into southern Japan out of central northern Japan, where Tokyo is located. And so we can confirm